Hi, everybody. As usual, I'm going to straighten my monitor like I do at the beginning of every office hours. Hi. Feel free to say hi in the chat and ask your questions. Anyone who's here could potentially get a free SEO audit, so just let me know if you're here. Today we're going to be talking about Google Search Console. So I'm going to do a walkthrough of that and basically explain how we can use it for SEO and what it is and all that fun stuff. But I'll wait a little bit longer to see if anybody else shows up. I can also, I was going to explain what Google Search Console is, but I think I will answer the questions that we received first. So the first question that I received was from Joy, and this is just about SEO in general. And so Joy said about SEO, it seems to require constant vigilance. Is that true? And yeah, I think that this is a common perception about SEO is that, it takes like months and months and months and months. And if you stop doing it, everything you've done before is going to go away. Hi, Rachel. If you stop doing SEO, everything you've done before will just like stop working. And that's kind of the great thing about SEO is I'm going to lower my desk a little. That's kind of the best thing about SEO is it's not that's not the case. And basically what I mean is, unlike like paid ads where you do something, you run your ads for like a month and then you stop paying for them and they expire, like they're done. That is over. So you can't benefit anymore from the paid ads because they are now over. So that was like a campaign. And it's the same as like when you send out like a mailer to 10,000 people. Once it's done, it's over. And, it's not that the time you spent on it was wasted, but like, you did your campaign, it ran, and now it's over. SEO is cool because it's actually evergreen. So as long as you don't take off the optimizations that you've put on your website, they can continue serving you and performing for you basically until you take them off. So constant vigilance, yes, in the case that like the more you do, the better you do. So like if you dedicate SEO strategies each month, yes, it's constant because you're working on it each month, but ideally each month you do what's the word? It like compounds and it gets better and better. So I would say what I recommend for most small businesses is just doing an SEO setup. So just making sure that your ground bases are covered. So that means, optimizing all your pages with page titles and meta descriptions, and making sure that the content is nice and flowing and, full. It's not just like you have 2 sentences on each page. So making sure that you have content on each page and that each page has keywords associated. And then, like I said, page titles and meta descriptions. But once you have those in place, Google will just kind of start understanding your website better and better. So a lot of times business owners will not remember what page titles are and they'll randomly like take them off, months down the road. And in that case, yes, the SEO will stop working because you have removed it from the website. But if you just keep that stuff there and let it sit, Google will always like see those page titles and know like, oh, this person does dog grooming in Pennsylvania because their website says that. So just don't take that off and you'll be, pretty okay. So yeah, that's why like when you run into those unethical SEO agencies, not me, who are like, when you stop working with us, everything you've worked for is going to go away. That's a lie. Unless when you fire them, they like go in and take it all off the website, which is very unethical, but what some people do. Um, yeah, as long as you don't take it off, it'll keep working. So yeah, so keep the SEO on. But yes, constant vigilance. I don't recommend that you just stop once you've done your setup. That's why I always recommend, you keep blogging, you keep creating pages, if you add a new service, you add a new page on your website and you optimize it. You continue to try to get backlinks to your website. Yeah, so I mean, a website is a living, breathing thing, even though it's not. But you never want to just get stale and sit over there. Um, but yeah, it's not, unless it's your full-time job like me, it shouldn't be your full-time job, is what I'm saying. Um, so yeah, she said, "Is that true?" Sad face. So I'm saying happy face. It's not true. Um, Set it and forget it. It sounds bad, but that is true. You can kind of set your SEO on your website and let it work and do its thing, and then just build on it over time. So yeah, that was the question coming into today. Kayla also messaged and said she has a lot of pages that are not indexed in her Google Search Console. She has no idea how to fix those, so we will talk about that today. So, yes, now that we've covered the questions coming in, I mean, you can still ask questions in the chat, but I think we can get to our topic of the day, which is Google Search Console. And so, what is Google Search Console? So, it's a little different than Google Analytics in the fact that Google Analytics shows you what users are doing on your website. So, it's based on a code you put onto your website, and that tracks the users on the site. Whereas Google Search Console is actually the step before that. It is what happens in the Google search results. So, sometimes you'll see some discrepancies between Google Search Console and Google Analytics based on how many clicks you get in Google Search Console versus how many sessions you get in Google Analytics. And that can be because, there's other search engines than Google. So if you see like 42 clicks from Search Console, but you see 60 in Analytics, maybe, the other 15 or whatever came from Yahoo or Bing or DuckDuckGo or whatever. So that can be one reason. But also they're tracked a little differently. So yeah, when we're talking about Google Search Console, we're talking about the search engine and what Google is reporting on based on how your website is showing up there. So let me share my screen. Google Search Console is also helpful because it allows us to kind of communicate with Google in a way. Let me share my window and then I'll move you over here. Okay. So here is what Google Search Console looks like. If you've never been here before, you can get to it. I used to think it was search.google.com, but I think it's search.google.com /u/2/search console. So, or just Google Search Console and you will get here. But yeah, so that was the weird path to get here. And when you first set it up, I'm trying to think. I should have come up with a client that doesn't have it. But anyways, we can pretend like we're setting one up. So you'll get here and here, let me see. I'll go here. Okay, so this is what you'll get to when you get to Search Console. And I always say to do the URL prefix because for the domain, you have to have access to your DNS. And a lot of business owners don't even know what that is. So, but yeah, if you're like super savvy with your DNS, you can do it this way. But what you'll do is, let me just do my website, I guess. Nope. And yeah, so you'll put your website here And you'll want to do the www or the non-www version of your site, whichever one is your preferred version. So to find that, you'll kind of just type your site into a search bar and go to it, and then like double click, and you'll see that mine is www. I think that's most Wix sites, and you'll copy it directly from this search bar. And you can verify both versions, so it's fine to just verify both just in case. And then you'll hit continue, and it's gonna run into an issue and say like we can't verify. And so this is the different ways that you can go about setting it up. HTML file, I don't do that way. So yeah, that's what the domain name provider. This is the one that you would use your DNS. So like your GoDaddy's, your namecheap.com. Kind of complicated. If you have a Google Tag Manager account on your website, and it is if you have the same email associated with both, it'll automatically verify, which is great. Same with Google Analytics. If you have analytics on your site already, which you should, if you have admin access to that account with the same email you're trying to verify Search Console, it'll also automatically verify, which is cool. But sometimes just none of these things happen. Sometimes it's like I feel like I have admin access and it still doesn't work. If that is the case, we're going to do what's called an HTML tag, and it's so simple and it's very easy. So basically it says add a meta tag to your site's homepage. So it's really just the homepage. You don't even have to put it on every page. So you're just going to copy this. It's literally just like a little sentence long code. And I'll show you a couple different websites. So this is a WordPress. And with WordPress, to add code, I recommend installing a plugin called Header and Footer, or it's called like Insert Header and Footer, something like that. You can also just go to the actual theme itself. If you go like appearance and then themes and then put it in the head of your website. But I don't really like to recommend that if you're not comfortable, because you could break the site. So insert header and footer is awesome. And you just kind of go in here, header and footer, and we would just literally paste. I'm gonna like scroll through all that so you don't see it. You would just paste it right here. This is technically going to put it on every page of the site, but that's fine too. And then you would just save changes. So this is a great little plugin that lets you do that. With Wix, I just have to think about it for a second. So I have a Wix. For Wix, you go developer tools, maybe. Developer tools. Or maybe marketing? Well, it's not loading. Let me just try marketing really quick. Oh, marketing. This looks familiar. No, I think it's developer tools. No? I think it's going to show up. Optimize your cloud. Oh, settings, maybe. Sorry, I should have done this before, but I totally forgot. Oh, settings, custom code. Is this it? Yes. So you go settings and then custom code, and you would literally just hit add custom code and paste the snippet. And then you can do it on all pages. Or you could choose specific page and do home. And then you put it in the head. And then you would hit apply. And you can name it like Google Search Console or something like that. So yeah, that is for Wix and WordPress. Squarespace is also very simple, but I'm not going to show that today. Anyways, once you do that, you'll hit done, and it'll automatically be like, okay, it's verified. It'll take like 24 to 48 hours to start generating data. So that's kind of annoying because, we want to see it immediately. But oh well. So yeah, once it is all verified, this is what you will see. This is the overview page. I don't usually spend much time here because I like to go into each report separately. But so the first thing I would recommend you do once you set it up is you want to submit your sitemap. So I would go down here to sitemaps. And most every builder these days comes with a sitemap. With WordPress, as usual, it's a little more complicated. I recommend getting a plugin called Yoast SEO. And Yoast SEO will come with a sitemap. And you'll go into settings on Yoast. And yeah, you can even control like if your blog categories show up in your sitemap or if your tags show up and all that fun stuff. But yeah, but to see like if you have a sitemap, I would honestly just start typing like /sitemap.xml after your website and see what comes up. So this is what Wix sitemaps look like. And so Wix will create a sitemap for your blog categories, your blog posts. I have like these things called portfolios and then pages. You can probably go in there and if you want to get rid of like categories and posts, you could, but I'm not going to do that. Sometimes like if a client doesn't really work hard on their categories, I kind of am like, get rid of that. Okay, like you're on WordPress. Yeah, so I would recommend getting Yoast. It's free. You do not need the paid version. And I think as soon as you as soon as you install the plugin, you'll get a sitemap. Let me tools. Yeah, I think you would just go into settings. Let's see what general is too. General first time configuration. Yeah, I think honestly, as soon as you, like I said, install it, you'll get a sitemap. And this is, let's see what the Yoast sitemap looks like. So yeah, type in after you get Yoast and install it, and it'll probably have you go through a couple things. Oh, you have rank math. Yes, I think, okay, you said you found it. Yeah, rank math will also give you a sitemap. And sitemaps are really important because, and so, sorry, back to Yoast. When you do /sitemap.xml, it'll redirect to sitemap_index.xml. So that was going to be my other thing is if /sitemap.xml doesn't work, I would try /sitemap_index.xml. And a sitemap is important. It's not as important as it once was, but it's important because it helps Google discover all the pages on your website. So it essentially, like if you go to this person's page sitemap, you'll see every page on their website. And so Google has access to these sitemaps and it'll crawl through it and discover all these pages. And so without this directory, the only way Google would ever find your pages would be they just kind of get to your homepage and they manually, crawl through it. So like they click this link and then they click through the navigation and they'll eventually, crawl through and find most of your pages, but there are certain pages that are really buried deep. So like maybe a sub-service page that's linked from a service page that's linked from a about page. So they really have to work to get to those pages. So they might give up and leave before they get there. Especially blog posts, for blogs, they have to go to the blog, they have to go to the category, they have to go to the post, So having these sitemaps is just a really easy way for them to find these pages as opposed to manually going through all these pages. But yeah, so you could technically in Search Console just put in, the main one, So it already has the whole rest of the site. So you just have to do the sitemap part, the end, slug. You could technically just do the main one. I like to do, so that's what I've done here, sitemap/index. But I also like to just go in and add any sub sitemaps too. So for this person, they have a post sitemap, so that's all of their blog posts. They have a page, which is all their pages. Um, this one weirdly has, so this is something I might go in after and fix. Right now, it has a sitemap for like their themes, which is just not really necessary. So I would probably go into Yoast and say, please stop putting that in the sitemap, which I could maybe show you guys. Products, categories, and post tags. So like I might get rid of that too because yeah, like those are kind of weird pages like that are just tags that this person has set up um, for their blogs, but it's not really useful for Google. Yeah, and so I will go in and submit each sitemap. And okay, cool. Kayla said that she set it up her Google Search Console. Awesome. So yeah, you'll go in and put in your main sitemap and then all the little sub sitemaps. And you can see like Google says success and it discovered all the pages that are in the sitemap itself. And then it'll say when it was last read. So like interesting. Like this one hasn't been read since like March 2nd. So like that's interesting. And you can click on it and see more. And you can probably like submit it again. Maybe that'll like, I don't know. We can see what happens if we like submit it again. Like, will it like randomly recrawl it? Maybe submit. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So I just like resubmitted it and now it's crawling the page sitemap. So yeah, you can go in and just kind of like shove Google a little bit. And that's why I said it's such a cool tool is because you are like talking to Google. Like everything else we do as SEOs is like maybe Google will one day see this page and it would be awesome. But this is like we can actually go in and tell Google like, hey, here's my website if you want to check it out. Okay, awesome, Kayla. I'm glad you did that. Okay, so sitemaps. That's my number one thing you should do. What else? Let's see. So once the sitemap is submitted, you'll start to see how Google is crawling the website. So you obviously want Google to index all of the pages that you want to be public facing. Once again, index means showing up on search results. So, when we talked about it the other day, it was like, we don't need our privacy page to show up in Google search results. We don't need like our cart to show up in search results. But, like our main pages, our blogs, the pages that we spent all this time on, we do want showing up. So you want to go into this report called pages, and this is where you can see like, are my pages being indexed? And this is where I'll spend a lot of time because I just need to explain what all of these things mean. So first off, you can go in and click view data about index pages. And this is all the pages that Google, and you can change how many show up. So I always make it like 500. And this is all the pages that Google has, discovered and is indexing. And so this is interesting. Like I just said that those layout pages should not be indexed. And here they are. So like that's annoying. So so it's good to see what is indexing because you want them indexed, but you can also come in here and be like, oh, why is my thank you page being indexed? And that would tell you to go into your builder and to tell it not to index it, which we can go over after this. But yeah, so just go through and see, what ones are indexed. You can also see like when they were last indexed. So, some of these, like free resources daily planner hasn't been indexed since February 14th. And so what I will do a lot of times is after I edit a page with optimizations. So I think even this daily planner, actually, I just optimized for this client. So yeah, like I just added this whole blurb saying what this planner is. I optimized you can't see, but like I optimized the page title, the meta description. I added like a nice H1. So after I did that, I was like, we need Google to come and see these changes. And so what you can do is you can find that page and you'll hit this little magnifying glass right here. You'll go in and you'll see that it's indexed. But like I said, you just changed something, so you want Google to re-index it or re-crawl it. So what I'll do a lot of times is come in and just hit request indexing. And this is just a suggestion, so it's not like Google like actually has to follow this at all. Like it can ignore you. A lot of times it might ignore you. It's a busy business, you know. But if if it does actually listen, it will go through and re-index that and rediscover your changes, which is awesome. And so, yeah, so it says URL was added to a priority crawl queue. Submitting a page multiple times will not change its queue position. And you can do this like 30 times a day or something like that. So I hit that budget pretty quickly most days. Okay, sorry. So Kayla said, it says I have 138 pages indexed and 392 not indexed. I think most of the ones indexed are the ones I want people to see. Okay, cool. So yeah, so that's exactly what we're going to go over. So go back to the pages report. And so those are the pages right here that are indexed. But as you can see, she has 71 pages that aren't indexed. And so Kayla says she has 392 not indexed. And yes, sometimes we don't want them indexed. So you'll see like excluded by no index tag. So if you had this error, they call it an error, but it's not really an error. You would click on it. She doesn't have any of these, so it's 0. But you'd want to see what is in there. And basically what a no index tag is it's telling Google, I don't want this to show up in search results. Like, please don't look at it. Like, that's the privacy pages, the carts. But if you go into that report and you see, now wait a minute, this is my about page, this is my home page. I've seen clients that are literally blocking Google from their homepage. That's when you would want to go into your site and fix that. And so I can show you how you do that. I can show you in Wix and WordPress. But for WordPress, it's through Yoast. So it's I can show you rank. Well, rank math is very similar. But yeah, so a lot of times, sometimes randomly the setting will be turned on that's saying to not index something. And so what you'll do is for Yoast, like I'll show you a thank you page, which will have a no index tag. For Yoast, what you'll do is, oh, see, Kayla said, I found a new services page I made in January is not being indexed. And so, yeah, that could be for lots of reasons, Kayla. Like it could be, well, I guess let me know why it's not being indexed. It could be like Google just hasn't discovered it yet, or it could be you're accidentally blocking Google from seeing it. So for Yoast, it's at the bottom usually. And so this is where you would put your meta description and page title. But down here in advanced, you'll click and look, it says allow search engines to show this content in search results. No. And this is a thank you page. So that's why I've selected no here. But say this was, maybe I duplicated this page and then I, made it a services page. But it would probably copy these settings. And then one day I'd realize like, oh my God, why is it not crawled? You would come in and you'd make it say yes. And then should search engines follow links on this content, you can say yes or no. So that means like, Google will follow links across your website. So for instance, if you had a page that was linking to more like internal pages, you could say no here. Like, no, we don't want you to follow them. And then what else? Yeah, so that's about all. Yeah, so that's what you would do. This is where you set that setting in WordPress. In Wix, let's see. It's funny. I have a Wix website, but I feel like I know it. I know Wix the least. Um, okay, yeah, Kayla. So request that is indexed. So yeah, once you would change that setting, like say you changed it to index, you could then go in. So say that she had pages in here that said no index. Um, she would change it in WordPress first and foremost. Because if you don't change it and you request, Google's going to be like, once again, I can't index it because you told me not to. So first change it in WordPress, but then you would go in and you would click that little magnifying glass and hit request crawling or request indexing or whatever. But yeah, so for Wix, edit site. Wix and Squarespace, I'll say, are very similar. So it's what you'll see here is, I think, pretty similar in Squarespace. And Rank Math and Yoast are pretty similar. Basically, for Rank Math, you'll just want to find this. You'll want to find Rank Math for that page, and you'll just find the setting that says, indexing, and just always make sure if it's a page you want Google to see that it says yes to indexing. Wix is so slow. Oh my god. Okay. So for Wix, you'll always go over into this little sidebar and manage pages down here. I think it's slow because we're like doing this right now. And then you'll go over to this little ... and SEO basics. So this is where you do your page title, your meta description, and here it is right here. Let search engines index this page. It's turned on right now because this is my home page. But yeah, so like, and then you can, so like, see for my privacy policy, let's see what it is for that. Hopefully. Okay, it says yes. So while we're here, I will say no. So yeah, no. And then for my terms of use, because another reason you're like, well, what's the problem with Google indexing these? There's really not a problem. Like, I don't really care if someone randomly ended up here, but there's something called a crawl budget, and you kind of want Google to prioritize your important pages. So I want Google to, spend time on my homepage and my services pages. I don't want Google to spend any time on my privacy page or my terms of use. So yeah, that's why you're like, don't index this. I don't care about it. That's one of the reasons. So Kayla, you said you're not sure. So like, what the services page, like, was it in any of these? Because that's how you would kind of know. But that makes a good point. You can always, like for instance, my services page, Google will not index it. So like every so often, oh, we're not on my search console. I'm trying to think of one of hers that might not be. I'll just show you mine really quick. So my services page, like I said, Google will not index it no matter what I do. So at any time, you can always put in a URL directly up here to see what's happening with it. Oh my God, it's indexed. Okay, so cool. But if it said not indexed, I'm trying to think if there's a page that's not indexed. I don't know. I think all my pages are indexed. So if you put it in here and it said no, then you could always hit request indexing. So yes, always put, when you add a new page to the website, that's a good point. So like, yeah, I just added 5 new pages. After I do anything on the site, I'll come in here and like I said, I'll paste the new URL. Google will not have discovered it yet because it's brand new. And I'll hit request indexing just to kind of give it like a little jump start. Like I just published it and now Google, go look at it. Because if you didn't do that, Google would just, routinely check your site and maybe find it in like a couple weeks, a month. Maybe it would never find it. So yeah, always go in and say, here's a new page I just added. All right, back to what I was talking about though. So yeah, you really want to look at why pages aren't indexed. So the one we just talked about was it's excluded by a no index tag. So something interesting here is discovered currently not indexed. So that's interesting. She doesn't have any of these. These are URLs that Google has randomly stumbled upon, but it hasn't indexed them. And so you'll go in here and say you see like, oh, that's weird. They found this blog, but they haven't indexed it yet. Once again, you would hit the magnifying glass, you request indexing. So this is just kind of something you should be kind of paying attention to. As Joy said, constant vigilance. So, um, yeah, you go in there and Kayla said, how long does it take for a page to be indexed after requesting? So that's the frustrating part because like I said, like my services page, I used to request it like every day and it would just not ever get indexed, and now it randomly has. So it can be quick. Sometimes I did read an article recently that was like, if it's not indexed within like a week or so, there's a high chance that like it might not ever. So, but my services page is now, so that kind of goes against that article. So yeah, hopefully, probably like I'd say the best case like 24 to 48 hours. But it could, take up to a week. It could take longer than that. But I feel like a lot of times with new pages that I'll submit, so like new pages I submit, they get indexed pretty quickly. These ones that Google has just not indexed, those ones are a little trickier because sometimes it's like Google's like, yeah, I already saw it, I'm not indexing it for whatever reason. But that's why it's just like constant vigilance, just keep doing it. Duplicate, Google chose different canonical than user. Okay, this is a little tricky. So like I said, these are not always errors. These are just kind of, this is just Google telling us why something's not indexed. So duplicate, Google chose different canonical than user. That essentially means, let's see, say you have a page on your website and say it's like my home page and it's also got like UTM parameters at the end. So like an affiliate link or something, and it's like Google SEO, it's got a bunch of crap at the end for lack of a better word. Google might randomly find this, but what will be attached to the back end, and I can show you view page source and Control F, canonical. Canonical is a little thing in the code that basically tells Google, hey, these two pages are the same, right? But we only want you to index this one. Like we don't need you to index, slash UTM Google SEO because it's the same. So just focus all your efforts on this version. And so what this in Search Console is saying is duplicate, Google chose a different canonical than user. So it's just saying like, hey, you have two different versions of this. We didn't choose this version. We chose this version. So like I said, not an error whatsoever. Unless it's like a different version and then it's like, that's kind of weird, but Google's going to choose what Google's going to choose. You can, in that case, request indexing of the other one and just see what happens, but it's not a huge issue. Soft 404, that's kind of like, for whatever reason, when Google landed on that page, it hit a little bit of a 404. Those usually will go away. It's sometimes just like a weird issue that day that Google hit when it was crawling. But if you go in there and it's like, wait, these pages are not 404s, you could request those as well. It says, Kayla said, it seems that a lot of pages that I changed the URL to make more SEO friendly are not indexed. Yes. So yeah, if you have changed a URL, Google might not have discovered that new URL. Especially like if you ever changed the URL, obviously, hopefully you did redirects after you changed it. So like if you changed, so yeah, it's not a bad thing, Kayla, if you change the URL. But I would make sure that there's redirects, which you would use if you have WordPress. You would use a plugin called redirection for that. So I'll put in the chat all the tools I've talked about. Yoast, Rank Math. Yeah, so you'll want to use a tool called, which is also free, A lot of plugins are free, which is awesome. Redirection. I'll show you that really quick. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but redirection. Once you install it, it'll show up on the side. I'm having a brain fart. Settings, tools. Okay, tools, redirection. So redirects, you have changed the URL. Say you changed the URL that was like /about to /about-us. Google in its mind is still like seeing /about, and they don't know that you've changed it to about us. So you kind of need to tell them. So what you would do is you would come in here and you click add new, and you would make it so it source URL. So like it used to be /about, and then what you would do is you would do like /about/us-us. So basically you're telling Google and users that if you hit this /about page, you're going to be redirected to the new version, which is /about-us. Because if not, all those old URLs to about will be broken when people visit about. So yeah, you really want to make sure you set up redirections, because that'll help Google and users. When Google hits a 404 for the old page, it'll be very confused and kind of like, where did this page go? And if you've recreated that page, you want it to go to the new one. If you did that, so once you change the URL, you do a redirection. But what you also want to do is, so say, oh, you can't see it, but say this internal link here went to my contact page and I changed that URL. You'd want to make sure to update the links on your website to go to the correct new link. Obviously, they would be redirected once you set up a redirect. But it's also just best case to not have Google hit redirects. So just make sure that you're updating the links within the content as well. Kayla said, that's not good. I did a lot of blogs last fall. Yeah, so you're just going to want to go in and make sure they're all redirected. Or if you've updated all the links internally, I guess if you don't want to add a redirect, you could just come into Search Console and submit all of those links and request indexing for all of them. You could do either of those. The only thing is that I'll say is, if you've updated all your internal links, that's one thing, but you have to think about also, like, did you ever link to that old link on social media? Did someone else ever link to that old link? So external links. If you don't ever add a redirect, if someone sees that old, Instagram post or Facebook post and clicks that link, they'll just hit a 404 page. Whereas if you had redirected it, they would hit that new page, which is nice. So yeah, you can fix all the internal links and call it a day, but I would do a redirect just in case, because you don't want any external links to also be broken. Okay, so speaking of redirects, one of the reasons a page might not be indexed is because it says page with redirect. My clients get very hung up about this. They're like, what is this? Why aren't these pages indexed? This is literally Google just saying, we're not indexing this page because it's redirecting to a different page. Like, why would Google index this newsletter page and so we'll hit the magnifying glass to see what is happening. Okay, so like this URL this is really silly, but this URL redirects to have a slash at the end. So it's very small, a very small redirect. But what Google's saying is, we're not going to index this non-slashed version if it redirects to this slashed version. Like, why would they index both of them? So this is not an error. It's not saying something's wrong. It's just saying, hey, this is why we didn't index this. What I will say, though, is it's saying that this page is referring to this page that gets redirected, which is what I was saying earlier. We don't really want Google to have to hit a redirect. So what I would say in this case is I will go to this page, the small business coaching page, and fix the link that's to this non-slashed and make sure that it's slashed so that Google doesn't hit the non-slash and redirect to the slashed. It's all very silly, but that's what I would do. So that's why these 10 pages aren't indexed, is because they're redirected. Not found. So this is cool. So this is where you can find, and Kayla, you probably have a lot of not founds. So this is where you could find pages that potentially need to be redirected. So like this person, for instance, they used to have these pages, and those pages are no longer there. So that's why Google is saying, I'm not going to index these pages because they're not there anymore. So in that case, I wouldn't tell them to index them. I would decide, do we want to redirect these pages? And you don't need to redirect every single page. If this page no longer exists, there's no new page, it's just like something you're not offering anymore, it's fine to just have it 404. Like, people are very afraid of 404s, but Google has time and time and again said, if that page no longer exists, it's fine. Just let it 404. If you have a new page like Kayla does, you want to add a redirect because Google wants to find the new version of that page. So yeah, for these, like, I think that these are all products that don't exist anymore. So it's like, I'm not going to redirect them because they don't exist anymore. Redirect error. Let's see what that is. So always hit the magnifying glass and see like what's happening. Page fetch, failed redirect error. So what does that mean? So let's go see what happens. Okay, so yeah, it's saying that it's redirecting. Page is not indexed, redirect error. So I guess it's just saying it's redirecting. I'm not sure why there's two different versions of page with redirect error. Yeah, we kind of already talked about that. This is the same thing again, alternate page with proper canonical tag. So it's saying there's duplicate pages. We're only going to index the one that's the version you want to be indexed. But so this next one is also very important. It's very similar to discovered, currently not indexed. This is crawled, currently not indexed. So this is saying, hey, we found these pages, we crawled them, but we didn't index them. And for these, a lot of times what I will do is I will go through and I will request indexing of a bunch of them. Not all of them, as you can see, like this is an author page. You'll also see like page 3, like I don't need to, that's not something I care about, page 3. This is like a weird feed page that WordPress makes. I don't care about that. Feed. This is a PDF. I don't care about that. But this, okay, book challenge, building a story brand. If we go to the page, this is one of her blogs. So that's annoying. Like, why is this not indexed? That's annoying. So I will hit magnifying glass. And it says it crawled it on December 24th. So it's like, what? And I'll come and I'll hit request indexing because this is a blog that I want to be indexed. So it's very frustrating that it's not. It takes a minute. Let me close some of these tabs. This one. Oh my God, it's taking forever. So Kayla, you said a lot of your pages were from 5 years ago, so I think it'll be okay. Yeah, if you think that you don't have any like external links to them, yeah, they can probably just 404 and not be replaced. But if there's like a similar page that you think could be that page could be redirected to, you could always add a redirect. But yeah, if it's just a super old page that you're like no longer want Google to land on, you could, yeah, just let it 404. So yeah, like I almost just forgot that you were here and I was just going to keep going. But yeah, so what I will literally do is I'll just go through every single one. Free resources error log. This one for I know for a fact I have told Google to index multiple times. So I will once again hit the magnifying glass and tell Google, "Hey, request indexing." Oh, good point. So, okay, Kayla, you asked how long does it take? Like I said, sometimes Google is just like, I'm not indexing it. Something that can kind of also help that is to just keep adding internal links to that page. So I have another client who her services page also wasn't getting indexed. And I basically told her, like, just keep adding links to that page. Like in every blog, be like, check out our services and send Google to that page because the more Google keeps running into that page and seeing that page, the more it might be like, okay, maybe we should index this page. So yeah, like I said, always come in and request indexing, but you could also just keep telling Google to go to that page. So yeah, that's mostly all the things in the indexing section. But yeah, you just kind of want to see like why is something not being indexed? Is it because it's redirected? Okay, that's fine. Is it not found? Should we add a redirect? Um, is it excluded by no index? Oh, that's bad. Let's go make sure it's indexed. Is there two different versions and it's only indexing one? That's fine. But yeah, the two that I really recommend paying attention to are crawled, currently not indexed, in which case, like I said, you have 30 a day. Just go through and like do 30 a day, like index, 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 index. And discovered, currently not indexed. Like I said, index, index, index. But yeah, what it is might be telling you is, hey, this page is, I'm discovering it, but you're not linking to it a lot, so we're not indexing it. So you could also add some internal links to those pages. Okay, videos. I don't spend a lot of time here. No videos index. Video isn't on a watch page. I don't know what this means. Video URL. Let me just see what this is. The video is on supplementary content on the page. So these are YouTube videos, so I think it's fine that they're not being indexed because they're YouTube videos. Yeah, sorry, I'm not really sure about this. I've never really noticed this section at all. This is all about video indexing. We're gonna skip that part. Removals. So this is basically saying something ended up on search results and you don't want it to. You can tell Google to like, please don't show this on search results. Core Web Vitals. So this is saying this person doesn't get enough usage. Let's see. So another way you can test your Core Web Vitals is to go to just Google Core Web Vitals. These are basically technical scores for your website. Google has said like to not get too hung up on these. Essentially, you just really want your website to perform well on mobile and for it to be, relatively quick. So, you can pay attention to these, but people go crazy trying to make them get crazy scores. So I would not recommend that most small businesses pay too much attention to this. I would just recommend making sure your mobile site looks good and that your site isn't slow, basically. HTTPS, you've got to have a secure website these days. If you don't, I don't know what you're doing. So this is just making sure that all your pages are secure. AMP is not really super important anymore. Sometimes you'll come in and you can see like manual and security issues. If you ever had issues, they would show up here. And then, yeah, the last thing I'll say, those are pretty much all the cool things you can do. Oh, shoot. I haven't even gone over the other things. Okay, links. This is kind of showing your backlinks, which is awesome because unless you have a tool like SEMrush like me, you don't know who's linking to your website. So this is showing the links to this website. So what pages are linked the most. This is your internal links. So like her homepage, she links to it 172 times across her website. And then it'll say the top linking websites to you, and then what the anchor text is. So like what the little word is that it's clickable. So yeah, like this is a really good place to see, oh, this person's linking to me. I had no idea. Edible Arrangements is linking to me. So I found that out through Search Console. Settings, if you ever wanted to add someone to your Search Console, you could do it in here. Let me go to mine. Yeah, so you do like ownership. Oops, not that. You would do users and permission, and you could add people to it. Yeah. And then, okay, so I didn't really get to the big chunk of what I wanted to get to, but that's okay. We can talk about it another day. The other amazing thing that Search Console is used for, that I use it for every day, is you can see how you're showing up in Google. So, like, yes, Google Analytics will show you how much traffic you get to the website. This is showing you what you're showing up for in search results. So yeah, I don't get a lot of traffic. It's bad, but I don't. So yeah, this is really depressing. I'll go to someone else. I'm spending too much time on other people's websites. Okay, so like in the last 3 months, you can see that they got 120 clicks to their website, and then impressions is how many times their site showed up in search results. So how many times, you're searching for SEO plus. What is that? So like this would be an impression for them. This would be an impression. This would be an impression. So these are impressions. So you can kind of deduce like, oh, 12,000 impressions. Like she's showing up 12,000 times. Click-through rate is basically if you're seen 12,000 times, you're being clicked on 120 times. That's a 1% amount. And then you can see your average position. And you can do comparisons. So like if I wanted to compare year over year, so the last 3 months to the year before that, I'm sure it went up a crazy amount. Yeah, so like the last 3 months, she's got 120 clicks. The last 3 months last year, she only got 34. And then impressions, 12 to 2,500 last year, 12,000 this year. So really cool for comparisons. And then, yeah, you can literally see, so this is different than keywords. These are queries. So keywords are keywords that we're targeting and that we want to show up for. Queries is saying what were users searching that we showed up for. So this is a great way to figure out like what are you naturally showing up for on Google. Like are there keywords that Google's randomly associating with my business? Should I create a page around that? Like building genuine connections coaching. That's something I know that this client isn't targeting, but like she's showing up for these 2 pages. So that might be something we want to develop content around, building genuine connections. So you can see, yeah, the queries that you're showing up for. It's so cool. And you can see, yeah, there's just so much I could go into that I don't have time for. But basically just really explore this page. You can see the pages that people are clicking on, the impressions each page gets to see like, oh, okay, her homepage is shown the most, but then her networking and sales page is showed. And then, if you see a dip in traffic, so say the last 3 months compared to the previous period, maybe she saw a dip in traffic. You could see why that was. So let me turn average position on. And you can see clicks difference is what I'll do. And you'll see like, oh, she got less clicks to this page. Oh, sorry, I like to do queries. Clicks difference. So you'll see She got 3 less clicks for her brand name. So that's not really that interesting. But networking coaching, she got 1 less click. And look, that's weird. She improved in her rankings for that query. So it's just kind of diagnosing like why traffic might have gone down. This isn't a great example, but yeah, like you can see exactly what query brought you less clicks that month. And yeah, it's just really cool. You can filter it by page. So you could filter it by traffic just to her homepage. You would do like the slash, or you could put in a specific page. But yeah, sometimes I'll see via Google Analytics that like a certain page did really badly. So I'll put it in here. I'll sort it by the page, and I'll be like, oh, that's weird. This query got clicked so many less times the last month. But what I'll also see is sometimes the impressions will have gone down a lot. So like small business coaching services, the impressions went down a lot, but her position improved. So sometimes it's like maybe people just aren't searching that as much that month. Does that make sense? So like you improved where you were in the search results, but your impressions went down. It's like, oh, that kind of tells me maybe people aren't searching for it like they were the month before. So yeah, lots of fun stuff. But yeah, really good for discovering new keywords. So yeah, and developing content around that. Okay, so Kayla said I have 166 clicks, 12,000 impressions, 1.4% click-through rate in 3 months. Is that good? Yeah, like that's pretty good. So that's kind of similar to her. So she had this is just for the homepage. She had oops, I broke it. Yeah, she had like about like 150 impression or clicks, 120 clicks, 12,000 impressions. So yeah, you had a very similar. So yeah, for like a small business, that's a good place to start. And then yeah, 24.2 for average position is really good. The funny thing is like sometimes like average position will get worse, but the reason that could be is because you're showing up for more. Does that make sense? So like you could have an average position of 24 for like 12 keywords, which is good, but and then like the next month you have an average position of 40, but you're showing up for like 1,000 keywords. So that's kind of better because you're showing up for more keywords. So I like to not necessarily look at average position versus like I like to see this number go up. So like she's showing up for 472 queries this month. I would like next month maybe she's showing up for like 500. So yeah, just the more queries she's showing up for, the better, in my opinion. But yeah, obviously, also hopefully she's going higher up in the search results, because this is the last thing I'll say. Is just if she's ranking like 44 here, so that's on the 5th page of Google, her impressions were only 53. That makes sense because it's like who's on the 5th page of Google. So yeah, sometimes you'll see like your impressions are really low. It's like, oh, it's because I'm ranking 90. So yeah, always look at what you're ranking and then see the impressions. But yeah, you obviously want to increase your clicks. Because yeah, if you have a ton of impressions but like 2 clicks, it kind of says that maybe, for instance, you're showing up for something, but your page title doesn't look good, your meta description doesn't look good. So that could kind of tell you like, wow, I have so many impressions, I'm ranking really well, but no one's clicking. Is something wrong with my page titles and meta descriptions? But yeah, maybe next time I'll just do like my whole thing on just the performance report. But yeah, the performance report and the pages report, those are really the 2 spots where I spend like all my time in this platform. So cool. Well, does anyone have any other questions? I went over a lot this time, but oops. Oh my gosh. How do I stop sharing? Oh, stop sharing. I went over a lot, but yes. Search Console is really cool. Really easy to set up. Just add that little snip it to your head of your homepage, and then it takes 24 hours to populate. And then, yeah, you can just see like make sure that all your pages are getting indexed, and then, yeah, see what queries you're showing up for, and start, creating content around what you're showing up for. Yeah, thank you so much for coming. And the next office hours will be in April. Let's see. They will be on April 17th, possibly. That's my husband's birthday, so we'll see. Maybe I'll take the day off. I don't know. But awesome. Thank you so much for coming, and I'll see you then. Bye.